Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Art of Business English. Now, this is the second series or the second episode of my series into Ask Andrew and Get Answers. And again, I've just grabbed the camera, pretty impromptu lesson here today. But again, it's coming from the inspiration of my students. And this week, one of my students asked me, how can I improve my pronunciation? So with that in mind, I started thinking, well, I know the best way, so I'm going to share it with you guys today and give you some tips on what you can do to better pronounce words in English and also maybe sound a bit more native, okay? So the secret really is one word, and it's quite a strange word. It's got a strange sound, and you've probably never heard of it before because it's not very common. And a lot of language teachers either don't know about it or don't really teach it. However, it's extremely important, and I'm going to share it with you today. So, basically, what you need to learn is the schwa. Now, as I said, it's a strange word, schwa. What does schwa mean? Okay, well, schwa is actually the most common sound in English. Now, when we say the most common sound, you know that there is the alphabet, you know, A, B, C, D, which we learn when we're kids. However, there is also the phonetic alphabet, which is considerably larger than the alphabet. So the phonetic sounds in English, there are many more phonetic sounds in English than the alphabet. And what you know, non-native or English learners need to appreciate is that even though we pronounce the alphabet a certain way, so we say A and B, C, many of these sounds change when they're in words, okay? This is quite different from Spanish, where most of the sounds stay the same, okay? So the words in Spanish are often pronounced exactly the same as they're spelt, okay? So it's much easier to pronounce words in Spanish. I live in Catalonia, so in Barcelona, so here many people speak Catalan. Luckily for the Catalans, they actually do have this schwa sound, okay? It's called, here it's called la neutra, okay? So it is a neutral sound, and what it's designed to do really is help you pronounce words and create this flow, okay? What do I mean by that? Well, many languages are not rhythmic, okay? For example, Spanish is not a rhythmic language. English is a rhythmic language. It has highs and lows, okay? That's why when we speak, we sound a bit like we're singing, and it goes up and down and up and down, okay? So this is different from Spanish, which is quite flat. We don't really say like, ¿Quieres un café? Okay, we don't really speak like that. Whereas in English, we would say, do you want a coffee? So there is a difference in the styles, okay, in which we speak. And as I said, English is a rhythmic language. Okay, so let's get back to the schwa then. We need the schwa, or the neutra, to help create this rhythmic language in English. Okay, and it's designed to basically create the highs and the lows, okay? So help us transition between highs and lows. And it's a natural phenomenon of speech. So it's something you need to be aware of, but it's not something that you should force, because if you force it too much, it will sound unnatural, and then, you know, it sort of defeats the purpose of trying to sound more native, okay? So what is the schwa? Well, as I said, the schwa is the neutra. It is this sound where you go, and it's sort of like produced here. So you go, and really a common manifestation of the neutra or schwa is, you know, you listen to a lot of songs and you hear them say gonna, I'm gonna, which is going. We know this means going to. So gonna is really an example of the schwa in action. Okay, so schwa is used primarily with vowel sounds. Okay, so A, E, I, O, U. Okay, so you need to be aware of how these sounds are. Okay, so as you know, like I said before, you know, we have the alphabet A, B, C, D. Well, if you take A, for example, I mean, A is pronounced A in the alphabet, but when we use it with schwa, it's often or E or A. So it depends on the word. So the sound A can change. So the phonetic sound is very different. Okay, that's the main point or the main thing to appreciate here. Okay, so if you want to improve your oral comprehension as well as your pronunciation, you need to appreciate how native people use the schwa sound, because if you do start to understand which words typically have the schwa in them, then you'll be able to understand or listen for when it's being used. Okay, so just to quickly go through some, the prepositions, for example, to is often schwa, so it's not to, it's ta. As you said, I'm going to, I'm gonna, okay. She's gonna buy, okay. So this to becomes a. Do, the auxiliaries are also often carry or have the schwa sound, okay. So it's not do, it's da. Do you like coffee? Okay, and often this schwa sound appears in many nouns. For example, especially in British English, we don't say water or Peter. Okay, we say water, Peter. So the ER at the end of this noun is often a schwa sound. It's Peter. His name is Peter, not Peter or Peter. Okay, but it depends on if you're talking British English, American English. Some of the Americans might say water. Okay, so they might pronounce it without the schwa sound. Okay, so it's natural phenomenon of speech. Depends on the region. Depends on the country. Okay, so these are all considerations. However, we need to be aware of it because it will help us understand sentences. With Spanish, for example, you may need to understand most of the words in the sentence. For example, if I say to you, ¿Quieres un café? You need to understand ¿Quieres un café? But if I say to you in English, do you want a coffee? You really only need to understand want coffee, because the question is directed at you. Do, the auxiliary, is quite neutral. Want is the main verb. A is neutra, wanna, okay? And coffee is another noun, the main noun. So if you understand the verb and the noun in this sentence, you understand the question, okay? Because of the intonation. Do you want a coffee? Okay, so you may not understand all of the sentence, but you understand the main idea. And that's one of the important things. That's why you may have heard your English teacher say, don't listen for all the words, just understand the main idea, okay, when you're doing a listening exercise. This is because in English you don't need to understand all of the words, you need to understand the global idea, because a lot of words are actually not pronounced fully. They're just a neutra, okay? So, there are many things that we can do to improve our pronunciation. The first one is to learn the schwa sound, which is Listen for the schwa sound, okay, which is, you just can do that in books or online. You can head over to the AOBE website. You can log in. We have lots of pronunciation exercises at the end of each episode. You can listen to the words or the phrases from the episode. And you can also, if you have an English teacher, then you can ask them to focus on correcting your pronunciation. Now, just to give you an example of the schwa in some other words, you need to learn to not pronounce all the letters. So what are some common examples of schwa in actual words? Well, the ables, no? Comfortable. Many Spanish speakers would say comfortably, comfortably, or comfortably. I'm comfortably, okay? But we don't say comfortably, we say comfortable, okay? So this t is a neutra. come. No, it's calm. It's ka. So the O as well. C-O, comfortable. So the schwa can appear more than once in a word. Another common mistake would be with the U's. Okay, so success. People say éxito is success. It's not success, it's success. Okay, the U, vowel, neutra, schwa. Okay, as well, the classic one, cortar. People say cut. It's not cut, it's cut, because the U is a neutra. Okay, so if you want to improve your pronunciation, then you need to learn the schwa sound, which is very simple. It's just and then you need to start identifying it in words. Okay, and the best way, or the most effective way I've seen my students improve is I get them to read out loud. So they read to the class, so a paragraph for you, and the student reads the paragraph out loud. Out loud means in voz alta. And then as they go through, I'm correcting them. Boom, 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 boom. No, it's not success, it's success. It's not this, it's that. Okay, and this way, through repetition, they start to internalize the correct pronunciation of these words, and then you start to identify in other words. Okay, so you need to listen to native people. You need to get someone to correct you where possible. You need to be aware of the neutra or the schwa sound, and really start picking up on it. Okay, once you start to understand it, you hear it more, and then you will start to slowly incorporate it into your speech. Okay, so that's my quick tip for today. If you want to improve the question was, how do I improve my pronunciation? Well, there you have it. Learn the schwa, learn to use the schwa, and start trying to understand how it's used in different words and prepositions, auxiliary verbs and things like that. Okay, now I'm going to go into more detail on this in some of my courses, so stay tuned for them. And in the meantime, I hope you guys are enjoying this little mini series on Ask Andrew and Get Answers. I'm enjoying doing it. It's a lot of fun. I just put the camera up and throw out some ideas. In the meantime, stay tuned. I hope you have a great week, and I look forward to having you all next week. Okay, take care. Bye for now.